All right, welcome everyone. My name is Coach David, and we are here today with EgelloC Financial Aid. We are going to be talking about the new FAFSA. Last week, I showed you about the student side of things. This week, I'm going to show you about the parent side of things. Okay, we have a lot of seniors here, a lot of juniors. We even have community college transfers. I think that's all great, right? This all pertains to you, right? So I do have a cough drop in. For some reason, I started coughing earlier today. It's really dry at my house right now. So I think that is why, okay? But today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the parent side of the new FAFSA. Again, one of the things that I ask our families to do that are here live with us is put your child's grade in the chat, okay? I want to be able to know who's here, but it does seem like there's a lot of higher grade students here, 11th grade, right? Just something to keep in mind, your 2025 tax kind of like filing is going to be the one that is important for your student, right? For our 12th grade students, your 2024 taxes are the ones that are important, okay? Now, today, just to give you guys a little bit of insight into what we'll be talking about, right? And this is something that I also talked about last week. We're going to talk a little bit about financial aid news. We're going to talk about the new FAFSA, the parent side. I am still telling people, do not do it. Wait, please stop. So if you're a family that has already completed it, stop, right? We might need to go and delete it, this and that, and you might have done something wrong. But I want to make sure that before you fill anything out, before you click that submit button, you need to talk to me. Okay. I don't know what's so hard about it. You set up a quick 15 minutes, we talk, I tell you if I can help or not, right? There have been plenty, I'd probably say it's been about 60-40. 60% of families, I'm like, yeah, I can help you. We have 40% of families where it's like, well, I can't help you. Sorry. And I'll send you on your way, right? But what's the harm in taking 15 minutes to talk to me? I will have a link later, QR code, phone number you can text, whatever. Just get in touch with us so that we can make sure that we explain things to you. Okay. Now, just a little bit about me. My name is Coach David. I'm a former law school and college admission reader, right? I'm a former lawyer turned into college admissions expert, right? I like to call myself an expert, right? I've been doing it for a long time, and I've also been doing financial aid for equally as long, okay? So I'm ready to help your family save money, right? And hopefully you guys get something out of this, okay? Now, financial aid news, just really quickly, right? Nothing huge going on, right? Obviously, last week, the FAFSA opened. That was a big piece of news. This week, there's something a little bit later. There's something a little bit different, right? So just today, right, they launched this new program. It's called Cash for College. There's not a lot of information out about it right now, right? But the California government is saying that they have put $4 billion, right, into this new program so that families that are worried about tuition or living expenses can get money for college. Okay. That's great, right? So there's nothing bad about that, right? The other kind of piece of news that I wanted to share was that there are huge delays in funds being released by the California Student Aid Commission. I personally have students at UCLA, UCI, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, and Davis that are waiting for grants to be provided by this organization, right? Literally on their financial aid page on their student portal, it says, "Oh, this is how much you have to pay," and then below there's like a green tab, and it's like you are owed money, but it's not going to be in yet. We'll let you know when it's available. What do you mean? The school year already started, right? And so I had a lot of families reaching out like, "Hey, the school year started. Where's the money?" And I'm like, "It should be there. I don't know what happened," right? And digging further into it over the last 2-3 weeks, they said that it's going to take a couple of weeks. Now they're saying that it might be available by the end of the term. So if you are one of my families watching this recording, right, just know I did not forsake you, right? We just need to wait a little bit longer. It might be coming at the end of the term. I'm not sure why, right? If they've already determined that you're owed money, why didn't they give it? I am not 100% sure here, okay? But keep like if you stay engaged with us, right? We'll have more news for you. If there's any kind of like breaking news, I'll try to post it in our different kind of mediums on Facebook, on our Discord channels, things like that, so that you guys have updated information as well. Okay? Now, before we get into the training, we always have a little quick message, right? And the quick message is all for all those 11th graders out there that are sitting there, right? Now, one of the things that I always tell families is you need to have someone in your corner starting early, okay? People don't listen. Then they show up 6 months before their application is due, and it's like, my kid has straight C's, but they want to go to Stanford. It doesn't work that way, okay? It doesn't matter what kind of decorations I put on that present, right? It's not going to get to the where you want to go. The only way to get to where you want to go is to have someone guiding you through this process starting as early as possible. So if you want to talk to our team, you can text 949-775-0865. You can text book. They will help you book an assessment call to see if our programs are the right fit for you and your family. Okay. There's also QR code down there if you want to get this on your own, right? So keep that in mind there. Okay. Now, last warning before I go on to the training, right? We have options for all grade levels, right? Whether your kid's in 7th grade or 8th grade or 9th, 10th, 11th grade, we do have options for your family. The one good thing about our programs is that it's a lifetime pricing, okay? So whether you join us in 7th grade or you join us in 11th grade, the price is the same. Actually, I tell Coach Tony, hey, if they join in 11th grade, we should charge them more because there's more that we have to do in a short amount of time, right? But all joking aside, the earlier you come to us, the earlier we can help you reach your goals. Okay. All right. Sorry. I'm getting all stuffy here. Might be hay fever. I don't know. It rained a couple days ago. Something's going on, right? But the new FAFSA, the parent side. Okay. Now, realistically, the student side doesn't have much there. The only important part of the puzzle on the student side is you're telling the FAFSA where you want them to send your FAFSA form. Okay. But on the parent side, this is the side that has all the financial information. So we're gonna go through it, and I have a little bit of a like a nugget in here, okay, kind of hidden egg, right? Now, most people, when they go through their FAFSA, are not going to see the same pages that I am showing you, okay? What's the reason? Well, I've been doing this for a long time, okay? They don't give me a special form to fill out or anything like that. It's just that I know how to work around certain pieces of the puzzle, okay? So there will be a link at the end. If you want to learn more about, hey, well, how do we get around these things? You need to sign up for a consultation. I'm not going to tell you guys on this call, right? Because if it's out there, then it's out there, right? But I'm going to go ahead and have people sign up for a consultation. If you want more information, that's how we'll do it. Okay. So let's go through the form, exactly what it looks like. Okay. The first part of the form, it says, do you understand this FAFSA? Here's some documentation you might need, right? Second one is, oh, these are the people that need to do things, right? The student and the parent or spouses, right? The third part, how long do you expect this to take? For someone that can fly through this, yeah, maybe it takes 30 minutes, but for most families, way longer than that because you're searching up numbers, right? And then after submitting, right, again, it tells you the process. Your form will be processed in 1 to 3 days, realistically between 24 and 48 hours, right? And then you'll have your FAFSA submission summary, so on and so forth, okay? Now, the first one, obviously, right? I don't want to show you all the information. So the first part is parent identity information. They're going to ask you to put in like your address, phone number, email, like these different things, right? Just, personal information that you would give in any situation, right? The next thing that they're going to ask you is your current marital status, okay? Now, you'd be surprised how many questions I get in this section, right? Because families don't know how to answer this situation, okay? So let me just bring up the most common situations. Let's say that there is a married couple. They are living separately. They are getting ready for the process of divorce, right? Again, if you are not legally divorced, you are separated. But if you are separated, it's just going to ask for one parent, right? If you mark any of the other ones, you married, not separated, right? Then it's going to be different. Now, let's say that you have a long time, lifetime partner. You guys never got married, right? You're single, never married. That's what I would say. Okay. So keep that in mind there, right? They're also going to ask about your state of residency, right? You don't need to know the exact date and year. If you were born here, great, right? If you weren't, right, just put a default. I just kind of like do what's easy to type, right? Or maybe it's January 2020. Okay. But as long as you've been here for more than three, like 1, 2, 3, 4 years, like they don't really care anymore after that, right? So they just want to make sure that that is the situation there. Okay. They're also going to ask if you received any federal benefits, right? So they have like earned income credits, federal housing, free or reduced lunch, Medicaid, right? They have like Medicare down there. They have a bunch of other federal programs. If you were a part of them, you go ahead and click that button. If you weren't, there's a none at the bottom as well. Okay. Family size. This is really important, right? And I'm glad that they changed this because they noticed that they were messing up, right? Here is the thing. One of the things that happens when you go ahead and consent to the IRS is that they just pull information from your tax return. right? But sometimes it doesn't pull the information correctly. So there was more than one time where the family size was not able to be manually inputted when you brought your information over from the IRS. And so it actually changed the financial aid calculations for a lot of families. Let's say that it was two parents and they had four kids, right? By default, the form would automatically just choose one additional student, and so the family size would be three instead of six, right? Now, having a family of three versus a family of six changes the financial aid calculations and how much money you're going to get from colleges, right? It is the difference realistically between a student getting like $6,000 from a UC, right, and getting $20,000. $14,000 a year, I don't know. Maybe there's families here that scoff at $14,000 a year, right? But I don't scoff at it. Over the course of 4 years, that's $56,000. That's a new car. Okay. So this is something that has changed, which I think is for the better, right? Because at least you can actually see what's being inputted, right? They're also going to ask about the number in college, right? Again, I'm not sure why they're asking this anymore because they don't care about this anymore. Well, how many years ago is it now? 3 years ago, 4 years ago, right? They got rid of a discount. I'll just give you a quick example. Let's say that your expected family contribution, I still like EFC better than SAI. I don't know why they changed the name of it, right? But the amount that your family is expected to pay out of pocket, let's say that it was $20,000 a year, right? For one student in college, right? If you marked two here, what would happen is that your $20,000 would now be split between these two students. So it would be $10,000 a piece, right? If you had four kids in college, then it would be $5,000 a piece. The amount out of pocket would remain the same, right? It would just be divided amongst the number of students that are in college. Now, they don't do that anymore, but they still ask this question. I'm not sure why, right? But if your expected out-of-pocket cost is $20,000, then if you have two in college, it's going to be $40,000. If it's three in college, it's going to be $60,000. That's how it works now. Now, that is for the UCs and CSUs. The private schools, they do care that there are multiple kids in college, okay? Maybe that's why they kept it, right? But at a private school, they'll give you a little bit more aid, right? It's not like they're going to cut it in half, but they will give you a little something more if there's an additional student that has expenses while going to college. Okay. They also ask about parent 2024 tax return. Okay. Now, this is the form for 2026, 27 academic year, right? So for the class of 2026, this is the form that they're going to use for their first year of college, right? A lot of parents fight me on this issue, and I'm not sure why they fight me, right? I'm a pretty nice guy, right? But they always fight me like, why won't we use our 2025 taxes, right? And I'm like, think about the timeline. Your taxes are not going to be ready by then, right? So let's just think about it right now. Well, for a lot of students, they need to get things turned in the next couple of months. If you are getting things done in the next couple of months, the 2025 year is not even over yet. You have not received any tax forms either. So if you go to your tax guy and say, here, I want to file my taxes, you don't have any forms available, he's going to be like, see you in April. Okay. That's why we use the tax return from 2 years ago, because that is the one that will be done. Okay. Now, your filing status. You do need to make sure that your filing status is the same as your situation, right? Now, for instance, there are families where, let's say, for instance, that in 2025, parents decided to get divorced. Okay. So you would need to provide information on the 2024 tax return that is true for 2024, right? So if you were separated after, right, then again, on on the current situation, the marital status, you can put separated, right? But for this particular section, you'll do married filing jointly. There will be an error that pops up, right? Because it says these things don't match up, right? How are you separated but then still married filing jointly? Again, lots of complicated situations, but we can figure that out, right? But if there is an error, then it'll either have you not, it won't allow you to turn it in, or it'll allow you to turn it in, and then the colleges are going to ask you follow-ups afterwards. Okay, so keep that in mind there, right? Now, this is the section that you guys will never see. Okay, they ask you, what is your income from work? They ask you what your tax exempt interest is. They ask you what your untaxed portion of IARA distributions, your untaxed portions of pensions. Now, you guys might be thinking, no, they ask all those things. Really? They don't, right? For anyone that has gone through the FAFSA, right? Has anyone seen this section of it? Anybody? Going once, going twice. I don't see a yes, right? And that's because, right? Okay, we have a no. So that confirms, right? And so the reason why you're not seeing this is because your data got pulled from the IRS and you have no idea what number was inputted there. Okay. So again, if you want to see how to get to here, right, then I will have a link later. Okay. But these are sections where we can manually put things in. Okay. So keep that in mind. These sections are also part of that, right? Adjusted gross income, income tax paid, IRA deductions, educational credits, right? Other schedules, net profit or loss from a Schedule C, right? Amount of college grants, so on and so forth. Child support, parent assets, right? Net worth, right? Starting here, this is a section that you will see. Okay. So I'm not going to lie and tell you that this section you can't see, but the other parts, the more important parts, those are parts that you can't, right? Now, parent assets, current total of cash, savings, and checking accounts. Okay. So it says don't include student aid, retirement accounts, or investments, right? A lot of people don't see the gray, right? They just read, it's like, oh, what's all of my kind of like, what's everything worth, right? And then again, down at the bottom, net worth of investments, including real estate. Again, they tell you what not to use. But, right? But, right? You're not supposed to include like your family home. You're not supposed to include 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, so on and so forth. There's so many things that you're not supposed to include. I feel like it would have just been easy for them to say, only include these things, right? But they don't. They make it tough because they're hoping that you just mess up and you lose out on money on your own, right? And then current net worth of businesses and farms, okay? Uh, they ask basically like what is the like value minus any of the debts, right? So it says don't include a family business with 100 or fewer employees. So this is one of those pieces that changed. I talked about this like when we were waiting for the FAFSA. If you own a family business, it is family owned, right? There's less than 100 full-time employees, right? Which is a lot of small businesses, right? You do not have to provide that information here. Okay, so keep that in mind. We have some questions here, right? It says, how will that even matter? Even if we input the numbers, they still have to access the to IRS data. Will they not compare? No, they don't, right? So here's the problem. The information they pull from the IRS, you have no idea what number they put in there. Let's say you made $1 a year, but somewhere else on your tax return, there was a number that said $1 million for something. You don't know what went into your income. You don't know what went into your taxes. You don't know what number was pulled because later, when you get the summary of what was done, all you see is data like pulled from the IRS. That's all you get. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then we have another case, and it says child support submit the 2024 number, even though the child support ends in April 2025. So everyone knows that child support only goes until the child is 18, right? So in 2024, you did get the full amount, 12 months of child support. So yes, you should go ahead and put that in, right? Now, the question becomes, well, how was that paid, right? And so we need to get a little bit more into your situation. Again, sign up for a consultation. Okay. For total 2024 income, do you put the AGI on the tax form? So you put whatever number is there, but at least now you are assured that the number that was inputted is the correct number. Okay. I've seen it too many times, right? Think about this situation. Let's say your income is $50,000, right? And you applied for FAFSA, you did the IRS data retrieval, you did all those things, and then you got word back from a UC that costs $42,000 a year that you're going to get zero money, right? Does that make sense to anybody? No, it doesn't, right? And that shouldn't have been the case. But how do we fight that? We can't because what? Well, we don't even know what numbers were put in. Okay. And again, if we contact the FAFSA, they're not going to tell us what numbers were put in because their representatives have no idea what number was put in. It's just all in the back end and then it gets blocked off and censored. Okay. That's why I prefer knowing the number that goes in and I'm putting it in personally. Okay. Now, one of the things that you guys might see here is that it says like I didn't go all the way through the process here, right? But I started the FAFSA form and then it says student will not be eligible for financial aid. It's because I didn't sign it and submit it, right? So you guys might see this if you guys are going through it and see it, don't be alarmed, right? But the one thing I will tell you right now is that if you want to increase your chances from zero to getting something, right? Because a lot of families feel like their chances are zero. Now, I have told you over and over again that the chances are not zero for your family. There are options, there are strategies that we can use, right? But if you feel you're at zero, one of the first steps that you can take in order to take control of this is not doing the IRS data retrieval. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, now next week, right? I will be going over the CSS profile again. I believe I went over it like 6 to 8 weeks ago, right? But no one was paying attention then because it wasn't on like at the front of everyone's minds, right? So we will be going over the CSS profile again. I'll be showing you kind of like where the stumbles are. I'll also be kind of talking about, hey, why are you giving them this number, right? So we'll go ahead and talk about that as well, right? We have a question here that says, bottom line, are you saying not to upload to IRS, but we input our numbers, no retrieval? Yes, that is the bottom line that I'm saying, right? Now, how to get there? Only if you sign up for a consultation, right? Because if you try to get around it, well, I'm pretty sure that you're not going to be able to find the way, right? But takeaways here, right? So really quick, right? I didn't consent to the IRS data. That's not how I would do it for my kid. So that's not how I'm going to do it for your kid. Okay. There is a way around this. Like I told you, sign up for a consultation, right? To learn how, right? But don't rush into this process. I've already talked to families. There's like, oh, we already did it on day one. And I'm like, oh gosh, what happened? Did you mess something up already? Like, let me check and do this and do that, right? Not our families. Our families knew not to touch anything, right? But the families I'm just having consultations with, it's already been a week since it, or like it's been like 9 days, 10 days since it's opened, right? There's already a lot of families that have turned things in, right? And it's like, okay, like great, you were like first in line, right? But at the same time, did we get everything out of the process that we could have, right? I just met with family today, right? They kind of already did it on their own, but then when I saw what like the result that they got, I was like, are you sure? I need to take a look at that data and see what you did because I feel like it should be a lower out-of-pocket cost than what you're telling me that you got, right? So again, um, sign up for a consultation. It's free, right? I don't bite, right? Yes, our program does cost money, right? But well, what good service doesn't? Okay. Now, again, like I said before, this isn't the last step. There's more. We're going to go over the CSS profile. We'll go over iDoc. iDoc's a really easy system. We'll go over that. And then school-specific forms, as they come out, I'll try to introduce them to you guys so that you guys understand exactly what's going on, how to fill things in. Okay. All right. And I'm going to continue saying this tip because I don't want people to forget, right? If your student is applying to a school that is using the common application for their application, for almost every single school on the common application, there is a specific financial aid question. It says, are you applying for financial aid? If you are applying for financial aid, you have to click yes. If your student clicks no and we apply, and then your student gets in and he wants to go, but we click no, so we already disqualified ourselves from money, then we're in a little bit of a pickle for that first year because you're just going to have to pay full price. Okay. So if I don't care, you know what? I don't care if mom's name is spelled wrong, right? I don't care if your high school name is spelled wrong, but I do care if you mark yes or no to this question. Okay. So parents, as students are turning things in, if you are applying for financial aid, make sure that's clicked yes, that you are planning to apply for financial aid. Okay. Now, final piece of the puzzle, timeline. We are here, right in between. Okay. By this time, December, right? We will be, at least my students will be done with the financial aid process. Okay. By April, we'll call it March or April, you will have your results back from all your schools. And then you will also have all of your financial aid awards. By May, you will make a decision on where you're heading. Okay. Now, realistically, the financial aid process can drag out for a long time, right? Like even this year, we had some students where I was negotiating until July, right? So it can drag out, right? But hopefully we're able to get a good enough award for you guys to say yes, and we can negotiate afterwards. Okay. Final piece of advice, please reach out. I have too many families that reach out after the fact. It's like, oh, you know what? I already finished everything, but I just wanted to check in if I did it right. That is the wrong attitude to have. Why try to do something when you don't have all the information? Okay. So come ask questions. I'm open to them. I will answer them, right? I'm pretty open about kind of like what is available and what isn't, right? But I've had too many families that haven't reached out after the fact, or they're coming in for their second kid, and it's like, you know what, we're not going to get anything, but, right? And then I get it for their second kid, and then they're just so sad that I wasn't able to do it for their first one, right? So reach out on Discord, reach out on Facebook, reach out wherever you can, email, whatever it is, and make sure to talk to us. Okay. Again, our results, lots of great results, right? Families making over two, three, $400,000, getting, 30, 40, $50,000 off of college, right? It's just what I do every single day, every single year. Okay. So make sure to talk to us so that we can help. Okay. All right. This special discount that I had, right? I'm gonna put it out there on the recording too, because we don't really have many spaces left anyway. So whoever wants to steal them, you can steal them, right? So here's a discount. So I originally said that I would give this discount to 10 families that signed up for our program. 7 families already signed up for our program, right? So they got an extra $500 off their service fee for their financial aid program. There's only 3 spots left. So whether you're watching the recording or you're here live, if you want to hear about our program and then qualify for an extra $500 off, please sign up for our consultation. Okay. Now, here are multiple ways to reach us. You can text us, right? Our phone number is 650-860-5201. All you have to do is text money and we will get you signed up. And if you are a 2026 family, please tell us that off the bat, because I need to try to meet with you within the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay. There is also a QR code here, right? If you scan the QR code, you can book it on your own. The problem with booking on your own is that I'm booked out till November right now, right? There's no spots available. I need to find a time to squeeze you in. So it might not be the best, but if you want to sign up for it and then email me like, hey, I booked this time, but I need to talk to you earlier, then definitely do that too. Okay. There's also going to be other families that are like, you know what, like, well, we have to get things in by next week for early action, early decision, or this or that, so on and so forth. So we can't work with your team. We're going to have to do it on our own. Complete bollocks, right? The deadlines that are posted on the school websites are the deadlines if you want to get a result back by your admissions decision. It doesn't mean that you're disqualified from aid. It just means that you won't get it back by like December 15th. If you're okay with not getting it back by then that's fine. Because again, for early action, you don't have to make a decision until May. For early decision, yes, there's a lot more consequences there. But if you guys have already thought about it as a family, it's like, yeah, well, if we got into this school, we pay full price anyway. Well, then hold off. You don't need to turn it in by then. Okay. I do see a bunch of people texting in right now. So thank you guys for doing that. Right. That's going to be the quickest way. Seth or Joanna will help you guys find a time and we'll try to book you guys as soon as possible. Okay. All right, but I do want to open it up for questions too, right? Part of this is you guys learning and asking your questions, making sure that you guys understand. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some questions here. It says cost of the consultation free, $0. Okay, that is how much our consultations cost, right? The next question we have is, will schools offer admissions after admissions ever ask for tax forms? Yes, they might, right? But you shouldn't be waiting that long to respond to their request for more information. Okay, so mostly everything will be done, and your kind of like financial aid award should be finalized before you're making a decision, right? Most of the time, and when I say most of the time, that's like 92% of the time that's the case. There is 8% where we're still negotiating after you decide to go there. Okay, it says, does FAFSA need to be done prior to submitting Common App? No. So the order of delivery doesn't matter. Whether you do your financial aid first, whether you do your Common App first, right? Whatever can get done first, should be done first. But for FAFSA right now, you shouldn't be rushing into it. Again, if you haven't talked to us, you probably should before we do, right? And then we have another question that says, are there financial aid resources we should review to prepare before doing the consultation with you? The best thing that you could do to have your consultation is to have your like most recent tax return available, right? Now, realistically, parents, the ones that haven't filed your 2024 yet, it should be filed now. You only have like after today's over, you only have 6 days left, right? So you should have a copy of your 2024 taxes, or at least estimated from your person, okay? And if you do, that is enough information to help me out, right? I also ask about investments, things like that. So having a rough idea of what you have in retirement, what you have in this, what you have in that is a good idea as well, okay? Um, we have another question that says, already booked for financial aid months ago. This is the same original one that we will get help with the process. So if you're already part of our program, you should have gotten an email from us 3 weeks ago, right? And the email was literally, hey, we're starting the process now. Please provide your personal information and your tax returns, right? So that should have gone out. If you haven't gotten that, please reach out to me. Okay. We have another question that says this. So this would be for my son's second year, and we got a great deal for his first. So would we still need this service? Possibly, right? Again, it depends on what school, it depends on kind of what you got. If you're happy with it though, then and like things haven't really changed in your situation, then I don't really see why you would need us, right? Um, but if you're not happy with it, that's when you should come talk to us because there might be areas where we can get you a little bit more. Okay. All right, perfect. All right, so thank you guys for the questions, right? What I'll do is I'll leave this up, right? If you want to email me directly, right, this is our email. Hopefully you guys can see it because everyone was saying that they couldn't see it last week, right? But this is our email if you want to email me directly to set up a call, right? The QR code, again, you can book it and email me as well. Let me know, hey, I booked this time because it was the only one available, but I need to meet earlier, whatever it is. But I did see a lot of seniors in here. I saw a lot of juniors in here too. Juniors, you're not really off the hook right now because before the 2025 tax year ends, if there are things that need to get done, we need to do them. Okay. So make sure that you guys you're staying on top of things. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead, leave this up, and then again, you guys can take pictures, get the phone number, whatever you need to do. We have a question that says, for EA, will they offer merit without the FAFSA submitted? Yeah, if it is purely a merit scholarship, right? Um, because your merit scholarships have nothing to do with need, which is why I say that merit scholarships are a sham. They don't really exist, right? Because if they force you to turn in your FAFSA in order to get it, that means that they're looking at your financial need, right? Do you see the connection there, guys? Right. Okay. But I'll go ahead and leave this up so that you guys can take pictures, get the phone number, whatever it is. But please make sure to reach out to us, right? We are here to help, right? Again, I don't bite, right? And I hope to see a lot of you guys over the next week or so that we can talk about the situation. Okay. But it was great talking to you guys tonight. I will see you guys again next week. Next week, we'll be going over the CSS profile. The email that gets sent out might be saying that we're talking about something else, but again, I'm switching things up because of what I'm seeing that people want to see, right? So just know that next week we'll be doing that. Okay. So everyone have a great night. Enjoy your dinner, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.